So, what's the first video game you ever played?
It was actually Pong.
Sophomore, freshman in high school when they first started taking off. I can remember Space Invaders.
Tank. It was an arcade game at the 7-Eleven.
It was a tabletop version of it that was in a pizza parlor.
I can remember looking at this black and white screen, and I had this little machine gun digital device. I could go side by side and blast holes through to hit the enemy on the other side.
It had asterisks that shot across the screen to another tank that was shooting asterisks at you.
Back where I grew up, we used to play it every time we go eat pizza.
And it was fascinating. I found myself playing it again and again, putting lots of quarters in a video arcade.
It cost 50 cents to play. I spent a lot of quarters on that game.
As the 1970s in America rolled around, something happened that would help to shape the decades to come. The first video game console was released by Magnavox. Of course, they probably weren't aware at the time that they had started a revolution. It wasn't until the 1980s, however, that video games became a part of everyday life. And that's where we'll begin. When arcades began to rise in popularity, they drew in both young children as well as teenagers and young adults. This mixing of the ages could often result in parents worrying about their kids being badly influenced, which in turn led to a rise in popularity for the home console until the video game market crash of 1983. The third generation, or 8-bit era of video games, was marked by the release of the Nintendo Entertainment System in 1985. This helped to bring back the video game industry from the brink of destruction, and helped to usher in an innovative era in video games. Sega! With the release of the Sega Genesis in 1988, the 16-bit era was heralded in. 2 years later, the Super Nintendo was released to compete, and the fourth generation subsequently became dominated by Sega and Nintendo. The revolutionary Game Boy was released at this time as well, and arcades started to slowly decline in popularity. When the fifth generation came, arcades went the way of the drive-in movie theater. Home consoles such as the Nintendo 64, the Sony PlayStation, and the Sega Saturn finally surpassed the capabilities of arcade cabinets and started to decrease in cost. This era also saw the rise of the CD as a game storage medium and the rise of Sony as a major console producer. The sixth generation began with one of the most innovative consoles of all time, the Sega Dreamcast. It had many of the capabilities of the PlayStation 2 and the later Xbox, along with featuring online connectivity, but it suffered heavily from bad reputation that the Saturn had given Sega. Sega would soon exit the console market, and Nintendo would fall behind with its less than impressive GameCube. The seventh generation, one that we've just recently exited, was marked by a sharp increase in the popularity of online gaming and a dramatic jump in the capability of mobile devices as gaming mediums. The Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 dominated this era, with the Nintendo Wii following close behind. Computer gaming also saw a renewed interest, which has only steadily grown, and the quality of video games has reached such an apex that they are now considered on artistic par with films. And now the eighth generation has just begun with the releases of the Wii U, Xbox One, and PlayStation 4. Indie game developers are becoming increasingly popular, and the capabilities of consoles and computers are increasing at an exponential rate. It's still too early to see what the effects of this generation will be, but it will certainly be exciting, and there's only one way to see what it has to offer. Press start to continue.